Hello and welcome to an extremely special episode of Michael and Mom Talk Cancer. I am your official host, Michael Kramer, and
I am the other official host, Ashley Kramer, Michael's mom. And I think Michael, he's jumping out of his seat. He's so excited, as am I, because today we have, you want to introduce her?
Leia Hunt.
Oh my God.
Very special guest today. She is an amazing person, amazing, huge advocate in the cancer community, cancer survivor, speaker, has her own foundation, all these amazing things you do, Leia. So, welcome.
Yeah, girl, I was like, she's an elementary school teacher.
Yeah.
I have so many things I want to say about you, but one thing is, I'm going to have you say hello. But when I looked at Leia's kids, my favorite thing is it says, bringing joy and hope to families battling cancer, not just about kids battling cancer. It was like the whole family. I love that so much because that's you. You throw parties, you have merch. You wrote a children's book. I totally want to get to the children's book stuff because that's like so cool. We met because you're an advocate. So we met at CareFest in Washington, D.C. last year, which was amazing. Okay, not preschool teacher, elementary school teacher. You have a huge following on social media. You're an inspiration to us, not to mention drop dead gorgeous. So there we go.
Yeah, well, hello. You guys are so sweet. I've literally been looking forward to this podcast all week. I was like, okay, count down until when we get to meet. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. Oh my goodness.
Oh, of course.
Are you kidding? You're amazing. And I watched that sweet YouTube video of you. I think you were 18 when you did that video.
Yeah, the 17? One where I'm super young. I was going into my senior year of high school.
Okay. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful. Okay, so thank you. We're so honored. Same with us. We've been looking forward to this. I'm like, yes, today is the day. We were so excited that I was on an hour early. I forgot you were Central Time and we're Eastern. That's how excited we were that we've been waiting. But okay, we have a lot of questions for you, but do you want to just fill us in on a little bit of your story, how you ended up here, like Leia's kids, and you're a goddess, but fill us in on that cancer part, because it is Michael Meltz on cancer.
Yeah. So really, I would say my journey, my story of Leia begins at a very young age. And that's really when I entered into the pediatric cancer world and never really left. I kind of, at a young age, my mom noticed I had a drift in my left eye. So my left eye was drifting. And so they thought I had a lazy eye. So my pediatrician would patch it. And I hated wearing a patch. Okay. I even have the really cute patches, like the different themed animals. It was real cute. I hated them. I would not wear them. And so then they took me to a specialist, an eye specialist. And the doctor basically, he shut the door. He took one look at me, shut the door, looked at my parents, and was like, this is my least favorite part about being a doctor, but I have to tell you that your daughter has a huge tumor wrapped around her left eye. And so from that moment that we heard those words, as you know, your life turns upside down. But that very next day, I was on a plane with my mom and my dad for treatment. And so we flew. So in the time, I grew up in Ohio. And so I got treated at Wills Eye Hospital and CHOP, which is Philadelphia's Children's Hospital. And so I met with Dr. Carol Shields, and I was immediately diagnosed with retinoblastoma. So it's tumors in my left eye. So my left retina was full of all the tumors. And we just kind of hit the ground running. That very next day we started round 1 of chemo. I did about 6 rounds. My cancer went away. We relapsed, we did all the things, cancer really wanted to be my friend, and we were just like, we can't be friends anymore. We really were trying to break that relationship up, but it was like, Leia, we're going to be best friends. And I was like, no. I was a really young kid. So I was potty trained in the hospital. My dad says that when I was learning to go to the bathroom, I would crawl out of my hospital bed and I would take my chemo pole and I would go to the bathroom that was in my hospital bedroom. And that is how I was potty trained. And then I would just crawl back into my bed. And then I relapsed. And so we stepped up our game and we did about 26 surgeries on my left eye. And
26?
Yes. Wow. It really liked me. It liked me a whole bunch.
Wait, what's the time frame on the 26
what
surgeries?
Is, I was going to say,
they were all pretty close within each other. We were boom, going after one another, trying to get it. And we weren't able to get the tumors. We weren't able to kill the cells. So then we did a radioactive isotope on the left eye. So then I was, in that isolation for an extended period of time, put that on. And then I was in the isolation for about a week. And then when they took it off, they took that radioactive isotope off my eye. Then we had the signs that, okay, the cancer cells were starting to die. But then it also took my vision in my left eye. So every morning I would kind of tell my mom that I could see less and less and less. And we were still in the hospital. And then finally I woke up and I was just like, I don't see anything out of one eye. And
how old were you then, Leia?
So I was almost 4 at that point.
Okay.
So,
do you remember, I mean, at 2, I'm trying to think of, do you remember the diagnosis, the chemo, the hospital, all of that?
So I remember a good bit of it. I also think there's a part to like being a kid and your like innocence is kind of protected with your memory, not picking up everything.
Yeah.
I will say that I have key memories. Like I have key like visions in my head of being wheeled back to surgery. And I remember I would just scream for my parents as they would like wheel me away. And then I remember like the nurses coming into my room and I have like the visions of, being in that hospital bed. So I definitely have some memories. And as I have aged, I have had more come back to me, especially if I got older. Like it would be so weird. Like I'll smell something and all of a sudden it takes me back to being a kid and being in the hospital. And I was like, wait, I didn't remember that. And then you kind of have this deja vu moment where it's like a whole new core memory is unlocked, but you're re-experiencing it as like a 20-year-old. And I'm just like, okay. And that was kind of hard to navigate, especially when I was in high school when that was happening. I was like, okay, because you're still trying to understand what happened to you as a kid, but yet you also have all the side effects and the stats, what your paperwork says, and then how you feel, and then you have like the memories. So it's kind of like a mosh podge of everything. So, but answer your question, yes, I do remember parts of it.
Yeah, I have so many things I want to ask you. I'm sure Michael too. But yeah, so after all those surgeries, after the isotope, were you mostly getting checkups and no longer treatment? You're mostly getting a lot of checkups, I'm sure, and following up.
Yes. Yep. So I entered into, the stage of going, once a week, every other day, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. And so my family, we traveled out of town. So we were still doing for like another year, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then, slowly I entered after those 5 years, okay, you're cancer free. And like we progressed. And so that was a huge blessing. But I will say with that came all those side effects. And those are still something that I'm still carrying to this day. And so I always say there's 2 fights to childhood cancer, really any age when you have it. It's like you're going through it then, but then it's the after, when it's you in your bedroom and your door shut and it's you versus yourself. And it's, okay, what is going on? What is happening? What does that post life look like? This is not something you can just turn around and walk away from. You have, okay, wow, I really just went through this, or I'm still going through it, and XYZ is now happening because of it.
It's a lifelong thing. It is a
lifelong thing.
Yeah, we know that. Like survivorship, it's lifelong.
Did you go to therapy? Like, or do you go to therapy just because, like all the
now?
trauma?
I don't go to therapy. I don't go to therapy now. I don't have anything against it, but I will say there was really hard times in my life where I would spend a very long amount of time with, especially my older siblings, and we would sit and we would talk about it. And like my mom, I remember like through elementary, high school, like everything, like I really had to work through it. And I just kind of worked through it with my siblings because they were older. So they were able to watch it and be a part of it on the sidelines. And so being able to talk through it with them was really helpful. And I think that was kind of what, if I didn't have that, then I think I would have gone the route of meeting with a therapist or doing play therapy or doing something at a young age to meet that need.
One thing your mom, it struck me in that YouTube video, she was talking about, when you were going through chemo, when you were so sick and you had siblings. How many siblings do you have?
So I have 4 siblings, and then when I was first diagnosed, I was the baby, so I'm the middle child. So when I was first diagnosed, it was just my older brother and sister, Logan and Lauren. And then when I
Okay.
relapsed, my mom had a baby, my younger sister, Lucia. So when I relapsed and we're going through everything again, we had my little sister Lucia, and now I have another sister, Liliana. So now there's 5 in my family. But at the time, it was 2, and then 3 siblings.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot because it's, caring for a child with cancer is one thing, and then having siblings that are healthy. It's I can relate. That was
Yeah,
tough for your mom.
navigating that, why
Navigating that.
I'm with mom and they're not, or why mom and dad and I are on the plane again and they don't get to come, or all the variables that come into play when you're trying to have lots of little kids and lots of little humans and trying to explain something that a big human can only understand to 3 tiny humans. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Was this genetic at all or no?
No, it doesn't run in my family. We have nowhere is retinoblastoma in our bloodline.
Crazy.
I will say though, when I was diagnosed, I lived in a really small town, and in like my little cul-de-sac, every single house had cancer. And yeah, it's
What?
so weird even to think about it now. There was like less than 10 houses, probably like 7, and every single house had someone going through cancer all around the same time, and I was the only kid. And
Wow.
so we don't know what that means, but that's
That's
something.
That's
They all
crazy.
were
that's
older, so we don't like they were all like 40 and up, and then I was the
right.
only kid.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
But what's so amazing about you is you did go through this young, and of course, I mean, we know and that it goes on forever. It's with you forever. But we do also know a lot of young people that have gone through cancer that they try to put it behind them. And you have kind of done the opposite. At 18, you started a foundation, or 17, I think 18
Yes,
now.
yeah, 17, right before my 18th birthday.
Okay. I want you to tell us about your foundation, but you did the opposite, which is so impressive at that age as well. I mean, because now you're so old, you're only 24, but but it is so impressive to me that you did
Thanks.
that.
Thank
So
you.
what drove you to do that?
Yeah, so as a kid, I would always do like lemonade stands and garage sales for my doctor, and I would do a fundraiser
Oh,
every year for my school for my doctor. And every time I'd go see her, I'd bring her like little bags of coins, and I would like write on the envelope how I got the money, and it was like one of my
oh my
favorite things I got to
That's
do
so
for her.
cute.
And it was really fun. And then I got really involved with the American Cancer Society Relay for Life.
right.
And so I was the only kid in my town. And so I would go to the Relay
Yeah,
for Life every single year, and I was the only kid. And so I really just kind of was like, I want to do more. I was like, I know I wanted to meet more kids that had cancer, because
right.
I was in a small town. I didn't know anybody, and I didn't meet someone else that I could get to know on a personal level outside of the hospital until I was 18, that went through a similar story that I had. And as a kid, that was
Wow.
really hard for me to not have that community, to not have people to ask questions to. And then
Yeah,
I also really wanted to be boots on the ground with these families, and I wanted to do more. I think that's where Leah's Kid stems from, is those 2 words, do more. I knew God had me here for a reason. I knew there was more to my story than I was just sick and I'm going to walk away and move on.
right.
My heart just was like, I want to help. I saw the gaps. I saw what my siblings went through, what my family went through. And I was like, I'm not done here. I'm not done. I can't turn away from this world. And I wanted to get my hands dirty inside of it. And so I was giving to hospitals and to research, which is so important. And then I kind of went to my dad one day, and I was like, I would love to give directly to a family. I was like, I know there's somebody somewhere in this town that needs this money. And I want to give it to them because I know what you and my mom went through, and I wanted to be that for them. And so my dad was like, why don't we do a charity, Leah? And I really didn't know too much of all the in-depth ins and outs of a nonprofit. But on my 18th birthday, I filed that paperwork because you have to be 18 to sign the paperwork. So we got everything ready. And then on my 18th birthday, we sat down and I was like, all righty, where do I sign? I'm of age.
Aw,
And
that's amazing.
That's
we just kind of
incredible.
went from there, and it's evolved and it's changed and it's grown, and it really is my true passion. Growing up, I always was like, I don't know what career I want, but I never thought nonprofit could be a career until now. And now I'm like, oh wait, this is so cool. I love this.
It is so cool, but you're also a teacher.
Yes, I'm also a teacher. I love it. I love education. I love teaching. I'm about to wrap up my first year of first grade. So of teaching first grade. So my kids are so fun. They keep me on my toes.
Slightly. 6-year-olds. They will keep you on your toes at that age.
They're full of energy. I always say, because this year has been a really big learning curve, one because of the size that Leah's kids has grown to, but then also graduating college and now starting this other career full time. I just always say I'm so blessed to have 2 life missions, 2 passions that I can live out. I love the charity work. I love Leah's kids. I love the education world, and I love teaching. And so to be able to service both of these kids, both sets in different and unique ways, because the kids in the classroom need me and the kids in the cancer world need me, and those families do too. And so I love being able to serve both of them. Yes, it's a lot. I'm very tired, but
you are not tired. You have so much energy. I love it. You're just like you're like the best. You are a ball. We knew that from the time we met you, which I love about you because I'm an energetic girl myself, and I'm just like, your energy is so contagious. It's like incredible. We always talk about, like, with Michael, I mean, Michael's still in treatment and still going through things, but there's so many long-term effects. And you mentioned the mental effects, but do you also face physical long-term side effects? The mental is just
the chemo brain, that was, I think, one of the hardest one, especially trying to navigate elementary school, middle school, high school, and having that fog and having being so tired. Like, I have a lot of energy, but I'm also like, my body is constantly so I tell people all the time, I was like, I've been tired since I've been 6 years old. Like, I cannot get my energy up. Like, I have energy, but I don't have energy. And I think that has been really hard, because even at a young age, people were like, well, this isn't common. And my mom was always she knew what was happening. My parents knew what was happening. My family knew what was happening, but that was a learning curve. And then school, I really came out for me in school. You could really tell. And so that, I had all the aides, all the tutors, all of the, special classes and pullouts. And that's kind of where my love of education comes from, is because I was that kid who would look at a letter and it was 3 sides the wrong way and nothing made sense, and I could not sit and focus. And my big thing, just because I'm blind in one eye, is I have migraines. That's my big one. And that's just, it's just, I've been to every doctor, and there's nothing we can really do about it. It's just I have one eye, the other eye's overworked, it's just, there's no balance inside. But for the most part, I would say I have those heavy ones, but then I also know that I am very fortunate for the limited amount of side effects, but then also being blind. But
come on.
That's a pretty big side effect.
There's always that.
Would you say that's
that one?
Blind in one eye. Just
driving is like an adventure.
Are you allowed to drive?
You drive, right?
I can drive. Yes. I don't go on the highways in Texas because people just zoom like this, and I cannot see them coming. So I just gotta I just gotta do my own thing on the road.
Just text us if you're driving in Miami so we know.
Yeah. It's just, like pulling into something that, you like, have you ever thought about, car washes? Like, when you go get your car washed and you go to the thing, I can't do car washes. I just can't do them. Like, when you gotta like line your car up onto like a little thing. Like, I make my
Yes.
little sister drive my car to the car wash because I'm just like, I just can't. I just can't. Just no, it's just too difficult. I can't get it lined up. One wheel's off, but I always think I'm on and I'm always off. It's a very humbling experience.
Oh my God, the whole cancer thing is so humbling, but the way that you can like laugh about it is absolutely, it's
That's
beautiful.
beautiful.
I mean, I'm sure you have your moments that you're not laughing.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
you have your
definitely have my moments. Definitely have them. Yeah, and they've been a learning
Yeah.
curve. I think one big moment I had, I was in middle school, and I remember this perfectly. I was sitting at my countertop, and it was just like all the thoughts, all the feelings, everything was happening, and I was
Oh.
just so upset, and I just like could not wrap my mind around it all. And at that point, you're in middle school, and my left eye drifts, and it's a different color, and it kind of has a party of its own. And sometimes I'm like, okay, but it always does its own thing. I have no control over it.
Right.
And so, people say things. And I just remember being so frustrated because I couldn't grasp school. Sports were becoming harder because people were starting to pick up. I play basketball. I love basketball. And people were starting to pick up that they could get around me and I couldn't see. And it was just like one of those moments where it's like everything was like a train just crashing to the front. And I sat there and I was praying and I was like, okay, God, please, 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 when I open my eyes, I'm going to be able to see. And I'm going to be cured and this is going to be great. And I'm going to have this vision and life is going to be normal. And I'm going to be just like all those other people. And I was just hysterically crying. And I don't know where my family was because I'm like in the kitchen alone and this is happening. And I would open my eyes and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to see. And no sight returned, obviously, in my left eye. And I was like, oh, okay, you were just warming up, God. We're going to do it again. And I did it again, and it obviously did not work. But in that moment, I realized how powerful that was and how life defining that was. And it really, like, I think that's when everything kind of shifted for me. That's when everything was like, okay, you know what? No, my calling in life is not to see out of both eyes. My calling in life is not to not know the cancer world. And I have to be okay with that. And I was like, okay, I can keep being upset and keep being angry, or I can choose to live my life. I can choose to be
That's
joyful.
true. I love that.
Yeah, make that decision. And in that moment, I kind of had to make the decision of what path I'm going to live, the angry, hatred, upset, or that joyful living life, making the best out of the situation, living for the next day, living for those who can't live, and walking that journey. And that's kind of what I decided at that day. And I think that was one of the most impactful moments I've ever had with my journey, with my life, with cancer in itself, because that was the day that I got to make the decision for myself. And that was the day I got to put myself on the path that I wanted to live.
You make me cry.
That's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful, but it's so true. I mean, I think that's what we strive. That's also what we strive for. I think it is a practice, like it's a daily practice of, there's some days I feel like it's harder than others, but certainly every day I think that's what we try to make that choice.
And it's not easy. It's definitely one that, I mean, it's not something that at 5 years old I was like, okay, this is my mindset. Let's do this.
Yeah, of course.
It was one, it took time. It took grieving. It took understanding. It took healing. It took working and thinking through it. It took trying to find out how to be a kid again. So it took all those stages, but it led me to a stage that I wouldn't change for the world.
Yeah. I remember a caregiver talking to me in my support group, because at one point we make videos all the time and we try to be inspirational. At one point Michael had said that I wouldn't change this cancer journey because of everything it's taught me, and she was like, how did you get to that? And I'm like, girl, it takes work. And it's every day, like also making that choice. And it's definitely not easy, but you are like, but I know what you mean about the energy. It's like you have this like spirit in you, but physically, because I see it in Michael too, with everything he's been through, that he gets tired, but he also has this beautiful exuding energy.
Mhm.
You guys have, both of you have like the most beautiful energy.
It's, I mean, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you deal with that now? Like, you know, because you're blind in one eye, you know, you're a teacher. Do your students ever ask you questions? Like,
I was going to say,
do they
because
ask you
6-year-olds
questions?
are honest, which is amazing. I
Yeah.
love it. But they're going to tell you what happened to your eye.
Yeah. So really, it kind of happened. They definitely say things. They definitely have asked, but I actually have a very unique kind of. It was definitely a God thing how this all worked out. So my senior year of college, I student taught at the elementary school. So you spend a whole year being under, like I was shadowing another teacher, and it just coincidentally, and I had no idea that this was happening. So there was a magazine that I was selected to be the cover and the main story of. Well, I didn't realize that this magazine only went to the neighborhood that the elementary school I was student teaching at gets.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
and at that point, I really did not talk about Leah's kids when I was student teach. I really tried not to merge the two worlds, just because I was like, I was trying to graduate, trying to keep, everything in line. And I didn't, like, the teacher that I was under knew I had Leah's kids because I had to get permission from her to go do my TED talk. So when I did a TED talk, I had to go up to her and be like, so I have to miss a few hours so I can go give a TED talk. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, so this is my life. And I had to give her the whole rundown. And she was like,
That's so
what?
cool. Oh
That's
my
so cool.
God.
So, and then she just kind of kept it on the down low, but more people just started figuring out, just because people would follow me on social media. And I'm very open about Leah's kids on media. And so this magazine came out, and I like knew it was going to come out. I obviously like did the photo shoot for the photo, so I knew it was happening. I just didn't realize it was the neighborhood of the school. So one day I pull up to the school, and literally the entire staff is standing outside holding this magazine, and everyone's like, we had no idea. And I was like, it was like, just of all the things. And so then that kind of got everyone's heads turning, my school district, the superintendent, everybody. So then I accepted the position to be a full-time teacher in their first grade classroom coming, like, at the end of my senior year. And so it was already through the school. And so a lot of people already knew. And so then at that point, I was very open. I was like, okay, like, I put in my bio that I ran a foundation. I brought, like, the first day of school, I brought the book that I read and that I wrote, and I did a lesson on the book. And then I got all my kids a gift, which was Princess Marigold and the Royal Tea Party. So then all my kids had my book, and they all had a copy, and it's my girl's favorite book. So we read it almost every day in the classroom. And so a lot of them already knew. A lot of them found out from the previous year, just from the families in the neighborhood. So that really, I think I couldn't have asked for a better situation. So a lot of the kids already, like, their parents kind of already talked about it. Now, the first day of school, like, there were kids who would walk up to my table and be like, hi, Miss Hunt, I know you had cancer, but you didn't die, or you're here. And they're very open and blunt about it. And they they almost like knew the extreme of when someone is diagnosed. And but then there were some of them who had a lot of questions. Like, they wanted to know more. A lot of parents took them on their website, on Leah's kids' website, before the first day of school, and kind of went through it with them. And then when I went to CureFest, I had subs in my classroom. And so each day while I was at CureFest, I like made a video for my class, and then the sub would play it. And then my school did a little article on what CureFest was and what Miss Hunt was doing at CureFest. And then when I came back, we kind of had circle time, and I showed all my kids pictures and like kind of like walked them through it. And so I've learned to be like very open with it, and to be because they're smart kids, we know they're smart at that age, and you can't hide anything from them. You can't keep that a secret. And especially since mine's physical, you can physically see it. So that really helped. In the past, when I used to work at like preschools, I would have kids come up to me and be like, why is your eye going the sideways? Or I used to have kids, they would like move like this and they would try to like follow my eye with their bodies. And they would like,
That's
hey,
so
Tom, are you
funny.
looking at me? Who are you looking at? I'm over here. And that'd be like, I'm looking at you. So I've definitely had very open and blunt conversations with them, but then but my kids also kind of the parents explained it to them. So that was a blessing in disguise that was able to help the flow of the new school year.
Tell us about your book. I
Mm-hmm.
love this book. Tell us about your book.
Okay, so we released our debut children's book last September, and it is called Princess Marigold and the Royal Tea Party. And so, Princess Marigold is a character that I created from the work of Leah's kids. So, Princess Marigold is a cancer survivor, and she had cancer, and now she's on a life mission to bring joyful smiles to kiddos that are sick all over the world. And what she stems from is that a lot of kids that I would work with, even parents, they'd be like, is this karma that my kid has cancer? Does God hate me? What did I do wrong? What happened? What could I have done to not have my kid be sick? And it's really just the kid's guilt and the parents' guilt. And so for kiddos, I kind of wanted to address that head on, because there was every single conversation I would have, that kid was just had that bursting question that they wanted to ask. And so I took the one thing that kids relate most to, which is Disney. It's animation, it's fun, it's talking animals. And so I created this princess because, at that age, princesses are perfect and they are the top tier. So I took that top tier and I made her sick. And I said, but look at this princess. She's still a princess. She still has a crown. She's still so important. She's still so beautiful. She is still this amazing person. And there's more to her story than just being sick as a kid. So I created Princess Marigold, and then her sidekick is Peppermint the Pig, which is her best friend, and her little pig, which are inspired from my little sister showed pigs in high school for FFA. And so she would show animals, and she had a pig. And then the princess is designed after my sister too, Liliana, because Lily plays princess when we go to like hospital visits or Zoom calls with families or whatever. My little sister is the princess. So they're catered after my little sister's life, of, the pig and her, and the character looks like her. And so then the Royal Tea Party comes into play, is that a lot of my kiddos, if they're terminal, especially my girls, will bring princesses to their house and we'll do a tea party at their house. And I did a tea party for two twins, and the book covers the story of twin sisters. And so the book is an inspiration from a family that we helped, one of my first families that we helped, and we did the tea party with those girls. And so Princess Marigold basically throws a royal tea party and a ball for twin sisters that both have cancer, and kind of walks them through, here's your crown, because at every party we give out a crown, and the crown really symbolizes, that eternal hope, that eternal life, that, some of us are going to get our crown on earth side, and some of us are going to get it on heaven's side. And, no matter what, we all have a cross. We all have a story. We all have a hardship. And yours is cancer. And that's okay. And this is how we're going to navigate it. And you still have a purpose to this life. And so that is the message that the book brings to life with Marigold and Peppermint the Pig. So
I love it so much.
I love it.
It's absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh. And you do, that's one of the things you do, is you bring joy and hope to families. So with Leah's kids, I think that's one of the things you do, is you throw parties and you find like the joy and the fun and the connection, the community, right?
Yeah. I really try to, especially for the whole family unit, because to me, family is so important.
Yeah.
And facing cancer, no matter what your age, looks different for every family. And sometimes that's doing the dishes so mom can go to the hospital, or that's doing grocery shopping so dad can go to the hospital. And fighting pediatric cancer, or really any age, the whole family is affected, as you guys know,
Yeah.
and it affects the patient and the siblings. And I have siblings, and so I was one of my main things with Leah's kids is like, yes, we're doing this because you have a sibling with cancer, but we're honoring you as well. And then giving that the mom and dad that financial grant. So at the parties, we'll give them those grants so no parent has to choose besides going to work or sitting at their bedside. And so I love our Crown Kid parties and being able to spoil them. And then we started recently for our young adult age group, so the AYA, which we all know is very important as well, that has gaps that need to be filled. We have started
So many gaps.
yeah, so many gaps. We started to do retreats. And so
Okay.
this has been really fun. We have our first one in 2 weeks.
No way.
Yes. Because
Nice.
wrapping up a school year and hosting my first full retreat wasn't enough.
Where's the retreat and what is it for? What ages and all of that?
Okay,
Explain, because I didn't know about the
first
retreats.
one is ages 15 to 24 females, and I'm taking them all to Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Wow.
If you're bored that weekend, you can totally come.
Well, he
When is
could
that?
put a little wig on, and you said it's all females, but Michael's.
You can come. I'll have you. I have spots. You want to come?
Yeah.
It's
We're
real
on-
fun. It's gonna be lots of girls, but I think you know a few of them. A few of them are from Cure Fest, and
Oh,
yeah, we can
nice.
talk about
I'm
it
sure I
later.
do.
But yes.
Okay, I think we should talk
Nice.
after this.
Yeah.
And let's go.
Yeah,
I wanna go.
no, honestly, you guys should. Yes. Okay, we'll talk. Yay.
Oh my God, that would be so cool. We need to talk dates because that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to ask us? We have a few more things, but
Yeah, if you could change one thing in healthcare, what would you change?
Ooh.
it's a big one. But I know you advocate seriously. It's not just, not that it's beautiful what you do, the parties and all that, but you also are a serious advocate, like in Washington, D.C.,
Mhm.
talking facts. We know this about you and everyone else out there, I'm telling you. So yeah, what
Right.
would you change? It's such a hard question.
Mhm. I think if I could change one thing in healthcare, it would be the access to the resources, making that process easier, making the process for parents to get to clinical trials and for them to have
Oh,
that
yeah.
full knowledge.
Yeah.
That would be easier because when you have a child that is going through it, you don't have 17 hours to look and research and contact and call to find where your child. You're not medically qualified. And we know that parents' guts are, normally right, but we need somebody else standing alongside with us that can walk with you, not just say your kid has a tumor and you're gonna go to this state, good luck. If we could have that somebody walk with us. Now in a perfect world that could happen, but we all know our world is not perfect and that may not be something that will happen, but giving them the access I think would be really something I'm passionate about, would
Right.
make that easier for them so they can take the next step, so they can know and have full knowledge of the decisions they are making for their child, or if you're a young adult, for yourself, giving them those options so you're aware. And then obviously all the things under the childhood cancer umbrella of research, awareness, spreading it, making it, filling those gaps for our older kids, especially when you're starting treatment at 17 and then you're still in it at 19. Well, now you're a full grown adult. Or if you're 21 and then at age 26, you're off your parents' insurance, but yet you've been in a hospital bed for 6 years. What are your next steps? So really making that swift change easier, better, comfortable, more for individuals. That would be something that I would like to see change.
All of those things have to do with connection. And I feel that's like really vital, and that's missing a lot. I've seen that with also so many caregivers that struggle making connections between one hospital, one doctor and another specialist. And clinical trials are so important too. I totally agree with you on that. What do you think you personally is your biggest challenge now? And it doesn't have to be cancer related, but what do you think it is?
My biggest challenge, I definitely am very blessed. I would say my biggest challenge that I've seen starting to affect more and more is my memory.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's I think that's part of the chemo brain. From my understanding, it is. But I would say
Yeah.
my memory and just connecting those dots and being able to keep moving forward, that, I mean, that's always been something I've struggled with, and I feel like every time I get to a new stage in my life it's been more heightened. But as I'm
Yeah.
getting older, and the expectations of the world are more, but yet your body still operates as something that was attacked as a little kid and never fully recovered, I think that is something that is still one of my biggest hardships, is just the physical of my body, the fog in my brain that's not going anywhere, and
Yeah.
really getting that brain working to the capacity that it can work, which can be hard because you're trying to do so much and you want to be so much for everybody. But when it's your body holding you back, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
And you're also doing all of the things. This is one thing when you were talking about blame before. I think that's so hard because as parents, so often you're like, what did I do wrong? As a cancer survivor, someone going through cancer, think, what did I do wrong? But then there's also that, like, you're doing all the right things. Your brain is being stimulated. You went to college, you're in the classroom, you're doing all of the things to stimulate your brain. So no one can say it's because, oh, she's sitting on the couch that she has brain fog. Can't say that about you. All right. What do you think? We can go on to fun ones.
Yeah.
But I want to ask that, but we could ask it at the end.
Sure.
Okay.
What's a superpower you wish you had?
Ooh. Besides perfect vision,
It could be perfect
X-ray vision. Girl,
yeah,
that will work for you.
Yeah, or like I think it'd be kind of cool to become invisible. So I could be in one part of the office and then I go invisible and I just appear somewhere else. Or you just can get a lot of work done, but nobody can see you. So it's I'm in my classroom and I can do all the things, but nobody can see me.
Oh, you're cutting out.
All right, invisibility, even though I think the X-ray vision is kind of cool. I don't know. All right, do you have a favorite movie?
Ooh, I like Tangled from Disney.
That's a hard one. You like Disney? I love it.
Yeah.
You look like a Disney princess.
You're so sweet. I like Disney movies. Just because it takes you into a world of not the sadness of life and the sadness of hearing everybody's stories that kind of doesn't enter in as heavily into little kid movies. So I know that's really cheesy, but it's my place to turn that off. But I'm also a TV show girly. I'm all about a good TV show, and I only watch crime.
You only watch what?
Crime. I love crime shows, Criminal Minds, Blue Bloods, which makes no sense because I like Disney movies, but I love crime shows. And I get scared and I'm sitting there and I'm oh my gosh, nobody break into my house. But I'm let's watch it.
That's so funny.
Oh my god, when you said TV shows, I was thinking, what Disney shows are there? But no, you did just surprise me. Okay, so Michael was treated, he's also at an adult hospital now, but he was first treated in a pediatric hospital. And so on the TV, until we got smart and brought a Roku, it was only Disney movies. So we went through them all, and actually they were kind of fun.
Yeah, they were kind of fun.
We kind of enjoyed watching all the Disney movies because it is an escape in a different way. I love that. I love that.
Me too. It was fun.
All right. So wait, what's your favorite TV show then, Miss Crime Girl?
Oh. Okay, so I really like Criminal Minds, but sometimes it scares me too badly, and I feel I'm too scared.
My daughter loves Criminal Minds, so I feel you on that.
Good. I really like the show Bones. And so basically it's they find bones and they have to put them together and figure out whose body it is.
That's a good show. I know that show.
Yeah,
that's a really good show.
That's my top tier. I'm okay, let's watch it. But I don't like scary movies though. So it makes no sense where this crime passion comes from, because I won't watch horror movies. I won't watch sad movies. I don't watch sad TV shows. I don't watch anything with drama. So I ended on crime.
And Michael's a little bit like that, actually.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He's a little like he likes the like criminal thriller kind of thing as well. So
Yeah,
I feel
it's like
you.
I don't want to like enter into that like emotional part. So I'm like TV's to relax me, and I just personally love it. But it also I'm just like I don't want to have like this emotional roller coaster at 9 p.m. You know?
Do you have a boyfriend?
I do. I do.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
I had a feeling, but I wasn't sure. Has
Yeah.
that been has that been challenging?
No. No.
Good.
Okay. So
Yes.
Good.
no, it's been going well. We started dating like right at CureFest. So like the beginning of September. So when I was at CureFest, it was like very, very new. And it's been going real. We're a long distance. So it's, long distance, but it's
Girl.
going well. He's in the
Mhm.
army, so he also has a crazy schedule, and then just me
Oh.
juggling two careers. My schedule is very crazy. So, but I think my big thing about him is that he was able to enter into the cancer world and
Right.
not be freaked out about it, not be scared. My dreams and my passions and what I want to do with my life was I kind of just put that on the table and I was just like, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do with my life. This is my day to day schedule. This is the reality of what it looks like. And he said he was all for it. And I was like, okay. And I think one thing now, this is really sad, but it's also beautiful in the sense of like our relationship. The first time he was able to come to Texas to visit me, it was like our second night, his second day being here, and we actually attended one of the kiddos that I was taking care of.
Oh.
And that was kind of just like the icing on the cake. And I said, "Would you go with me?" And he said, "Get in the car. We're going right now." And it was, and so that was like a big, because a lot of times, especially in the dating world, and it's like, by the way, I don't see. By the way, I have a charity. By the way, all these things. Like, by the way, our kids, like, if we move that fast, they're all going to get tested, like, and all of those things. And a lot of times people are just like, wow, I just can't. And he was the first person who wasn't scared.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
That's very beautiful. And you deserve everything. Your turn.
If you knew you were going to die tomorrow, what would you do today?
Oh, I would just...
That's our signature question.
Oh, I love that question. If I knew I was going to die tomorrow, what would I do today? I would put some gloves on and start helping people even more. So I'd be like, I have no to-do list anymore. So here we go. Who needs money? Who needs clothing? Who needs, like, I'd be giving everything away. I have away. Who needs help? Who needs assistance? I would, because you can't take all that. So I would be like, who can?
No one's ever given us that answer before.
Pretty much everyone says I would want to spend time with my family. I would be with my family or my loved ones. You're the first person that said that, but that speaks volumes of you and you. You are service and love, and that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
You guys are so sweet.
No, you're amazing. So tell us, people can donate, right, to Leia's kids.
Yes. Okay. So
tell us this part.
Okay, yes. So definitely. So Leia's Kids, we service families all over the U.S., 0 to 18 for our donations and our parties of any childhood cancer, any state, any city. And then for our retreats, it's ages 15 to 24, and that is all inclusive. So you don't have to pay for anything. We'll get you there. We'll set you up. It's all on us for you. And so we're serving both of those communities. And then you can find all that information on our website, leaskids.org. So fun fact, I always have to say this, I'm named after Princess Leia from Star Wars. So my name is Leia. Yeah.
That's so cute.
So if you
that
look
way
up
people know how to spell
LEAH,
it.
it won't appear. And I've tried to buy the domain, but somebody in another country owns the domain for their water factory. So I can't buy the
That's
domain.
so funny.
Yeah, so it's LEIA, leaskids.org. But yeah, all of our information's on there. You can nominate a family, a social worker, a doctor, a brother or sister can nominate a family, and then we get that and we try to help that family as soon as possible. But you can donate to us. Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, you have all the things.
However you want to do
all
it.
there, but really just keep our families in your prayers.
People can, I know there's merch. They can buy the book as well, right?
Yeah, so the book's on Amazon under Princess Marigold and the Royalty Party, or you can just search my name, Leia Hunt, and it comes up, or it's on our website. And then we also have our battle plan journals that we give out to warriors in active treatment. And then we also have our grief journals, which is part of our initiative for the families when they're going through the grieving process. And so all those resources are on our website, but they're also all on Amazon.
You have so much. 24 years old and you're doing so much. You're amazing.
It's amazing.
Your life is just
I don't know. You guys are pretty cool too. No, let me tell you what. I feel like I need to ask you all questions next. But I'm impressed with y'all. Hold up. Well, you guys are so cool. When I knew I got to introduce you on CureFest, I was like, wait. I know them from Instagram. I was like, wait, really? I get to introduce them? I was like, you're going to let me introduce them? I was so excited. And you guys are on stage and I was standing in the wing. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just introduced them on stage.
That's how we felt being introduced by you. So we were like, Leia Hunt's going to introduce us. Oh my God.
I was so excited. I was like, wait, I know y'all. I mean, I don't know you, but I know you.
Now you know us.
You guys are a storm. You guys are a force to be reckoned with. You guys are amazing. I am cheering y'all on. If anything I can do,
thank you.
I just love it. I love how authentic you are, how real you are, how caring you guys are. I love your duo and the atmosphere. I'm sure you guys do this all the time, but I just think you're great. So.
Well, we feel that about you. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Oh my God.
It's an official goodbye from your host, Michael Kramer and
Ashley and beautiful Leia Hunt, named after Princess Leia.